Let's go Ravens! The team is making moves behind the scenes, making important decisions and setting the tone for what's to come. This isn't just another quiet preseason. There are serious conversations happening, big contracts being discussed, and changes that could shape the entire direction of the franchise. It's clear the organization wants to come back stronger, smarter, and more prepared than ever. And as fans, we're all watching closely, curious to see how it all unfolds and what it will mean for the next season. If you're excited about what's to come, don't forget to like and leave a comment sharing what you think of the team right now. Now let's get straight into the biggest story of the day. Tyler Linderbaum. Eric DeCosta confirmed that the Ravens have made Linderbaum a market-setting offer. Let that sink in. Since the end of the season, conversations have been ongoing, but this is the first time we've heard clearly that a formal proposal has been made. DeCosta said they've had discussions since the season ended and that they presented him with a market-setting deal, hoping to get something done before the start of the new league year. That is significant. When you hear market-setting, the immediate question becomes, what does that actually mean? The highest paid center right now is at $18 million per year. Technically, offering $18.5 million would reset the market, but there are reports that other teams could be willing to go as high as $22 million annually. So is Baltimore's offer just barely above the top number? Or are they truly going big here to secure the best center in football? We don't know the exact figures yet, but what we do know is this: they are serious. Jesse Minter doubled down by calling Tyler Linderbaum the best center in the league. That endorsement matters. Early in the day, there wasn't a lot of optimism about Linderbaum returning. But after hearing both DeCosta and Minter speak, there's definitely more hope now than there was just a few hours earlier. If this deal gets done before March 11th, it would stabilize the offensive line in a huge way heading into 2026. Speaking of contracts, let's talk about Lamar Jackson. DeCosta made it clear that conversations with Lamar have been ongoing and handled internally, just like last time. He emphasized that Lamar has been very engaged and even played a big role in the coaching search. That tells you something about where things stand. We all remember how tense the last extension process became, including that shocking trade request tweet. Nobody expected that twist. But this time feels different. The Ravens cannot go into the new league year with Lamar carrying a $75 million cap hit. It simply won't happen. With the new league year just weeks away, expect a reworked deal soon. And there's a clear blueprint out there. Josh Allen's 6-year, $330 million extension averaging $55 million per year with $250 million guaranteed. No one is saying Baltimore will copy that deal exactly, but it provides a starting framework for negotiations. Everything suggests that both sides are aligned and that a new agreement is coming. Now let's shift to Jesse Minter's broader vision. One of the most refreshing parts of his press conference was how strongly he emphasized building through the trenches. He pointed to recent Super Bowl winners and stressed that this is an offensive line and defensive line driven league. That lines up perfectly with Baltimore's biggest needs entering the offseason. Offensive line help, defensive line reinforcements. If your head coach believes games are won up front, that gives you confidence in the direction of roster construction. Minter also addressed his relationship with Lamar Jackson. He said it's ongoing, built on communication, and that trust takes time. There's been so much speculation about whether the quarterback likes the hire or not, but Minter made it clear Lamar was heavily involved in the interview process. That alone should calm down a lot of the noise. These are professionals. Building chemistry takes time, but there's no indication of friction. Another fascinating detail, the defensive system for 2026 is still being formulated. Minter said this will not simply be the Chargers defense or the old Ravens defense. It's going to be something new. They're piecing it together based on the personnel and what they want structurally from each position. That kind of adaptability is exciting. Opposing offenses won't just be preparing for recycled schemes. They'll be facing something specifically crafted for this roster. And that brings us to a major concern from last season, the pass rush. Minter acknowledged that rushing the passer involves multiple factors, playing with the lead, blitzing schemes, and personnel. He mentioned young ascending players who can help, but also made it clear that this is a position they're always looking to improve. When Nnamdi Madubuike went down last season with that serious neck injury, the entire pass rush suffered. The defense struggled to consistently get pressure, and it showed. There wasn't a definitive update on Madubuike's future, though it was confirmed he has been at the facility recently. That's encouraging, but nothing is guaranteed. Meanwhile, Minter emphasized that free agency and the draft will both be used to strengthen the trenches. Expect defensive line and edge help to be a priority. On the defensive side, DeCosta also stated that Marlon Humphrey is expected to be back and does not necessarily need a contract adjustment. That suggests the team still believes in him and wants continuity in the secondary. One more twist that stirred emotions. It was confirmed that a controversial play from the Week 14 loss should have been ruled an interception. The league acknowledged there were views they wish they could have back. That kind of admission doesn't change the standings, but it does validate the frustration many fans felt at the time. Finally, the tight end room. DeCosta explained that they worked out a deal with Mark Andrews late last season and expect him to return to form. He praised Andrews as one of the team's great players over the past 7 or 8 years and believes he still has plenty left in the tank. As for Isaiah Likely, the situation is more complicated. likely has expressed a desire to blossom and be in a situation where he can contribute at a higher level. With Andrews extended, that path in Baltimore seems limited, because if you really step back and look at the situation, both of these contracts impact everything else the Ravens want to do over the next 2 seasons. Let's continue breaking this down. If Lamar Jackson's extension gets done first, that immediately creates clarity with the salary cap. You cannot walk into the new league year with that massive cap hit hanging over your head. The moment that deal is restructured or extended, you free up space. And when you free up space, you give Eric DeCosta flexibility. Flexibility to attack free agency. Flexibility to reinforce the offensive line. Flexibility to go get pass rush help. And based on what Jesse Minter emphasized at the Combine, reinforcing the trenches is not optional. It is foundational. He made it crystal clear that this is an offensive line and defensive line driven league. That wasn't coach speak. That was philosophy. So imagine this scenario. Lamar's deal gets finalized in the next 2 weeks. Cap relief is created. Now you have room to be aggressive. Maybe you bring in another veteran defensive lineman to support the interior rotation. Maybe you add depth to the offensive line to protect your franchise quarterback. That's how dominoes start to fall. But then there's Tyler Linderbaum. Locking up the best center in football does more than secure one position. It stabilizes the entire offensive line. The communication, the protection adjustments, the run game coordination, all of it flows through the center. If you lose Linderbaum, you're not just replacing a player. You're replacing the heartbeat of the line. Eric DeCosta calling the offer market setting wasn't accidental. That phrase was deliberate. That was a signal. It tells you Baltimore understands what they have. It tells you they aren't lowballing. But it also raises the pressure. Because if this deal doesn't get done after that kind of public statement, fans are going to ask serious questions. And here's where it gets even more interesting. While all of this contract talk dominates the headlines, Jesse Minter is quietly building a brand new defensive identity. He specifically said the 2026 Ravens defense will not be the Chargers defense and it won't be the old Ravens defense. That means change. That means evolution. And evolution requires personnel that fits the system. He mentioned looking for the best players who structurally fit the jobs they need done. That suggests the draft board may look very different than what mock drafts are projecting. You've seen analysts project wide receivers in round 1. But if Minter truly believes championships are won up front, don't be surprised if offensive line or defensive line becomes the priority. Now let's circle back to the pass rush, because that was a major issue last season. When Nnamdi Madubuike went down with that neck injury, the ripple effect was obvious. Interior pressure disappeared. Edge rushers weren't finishing. Quarterbacks had too much time. Minter acknowledged that rushing the passer isn't just about one player. It's about game flow, blitz timing, and personnel depth. But he also made it clear they're always looking to add more. That tells me this front office is not sitting still. And while there wasn't a definitive update on Madubuike's long-term future, the fact that he's been back at the facility is at least a positive sign. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it's better than silence. Then there's Marlon Humphrey. DeCosta said he expects Humphrey to be back and doesn't see a contract adjustment as necessary right now. That's a strong vote of confidence. We've seen coaches and GMs say things at the Combine that later change, but as of today, the expectation is continuity in the secondary. And let's not forget the emotional twist with that Week 14 call being acknowledged as incorrect. Hearing the league admit that they wish they could have that view back doesn't change the result, but it reinforces something fans already felt. That game had major implications. And when you think about how close the margins are in this league, it's hard not to wonder how different things could have been. Now, the tight end situation adds another layer